This book is a combination of bad writing and bad editing. Hey, besties.
Hey,
Welcome back for another episode of the Hello Bestie podcast. I'm Maggie.
I'm Tashima.
Today we're talking about Razorblade tears, guys.
Yep.
All right, I'm excited about this one. So this is a book about two fathers, both ex-cons. One's black, one's white, and they basically team up together to avenge their sons' deaths, and their sons were married to each other. So I have a couple of reviews to share on this one.
I'm interested to hear.
A beautifully violent, moving, challenging, cathartic revelation. Someone else said, I feel gaslit by the Goodreads community. Did we read the same book, y'all? Jail. This book is a combination of bad writing and bad editing. All right. So the overall rating was a 4.1.
Okay.
Yep. So, going to have some good, some bad in there, but I just like to share one of each to see. We'll get into our review towards the end. But so the book, their sons were murdered very brutally. And the book opens up with this death already have happened. Do you feel like you knew enough about them and their characters?
I think so. Like, enough that it seemed like two men that were married were murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, you're just kind of like, oh, tragedy. You know what I mean? Like, that is not uncommon,
Right.
unfortunately. So I think at that point, you're like, okay. Obviously, we don't know, like, we didn't know how deep it went, but that's what it seemed like on the surface.
Yeah. As I went through the book, I felt like he did a good job of kind of explaining the dynamic between Ike and Isaiah and Maya, and then, Buddy Lee and his son Derek, and then the ex-wife Christine. So I agree with you. Initially, there was enough there this is really unfortunate, obviously. But as you go through and just really see the relationships and stuff, I felt like even though they were, I'm not going to say they weren't actual characters, but I felt like the author did a good job of kind of flushing them out in the way that he could posthumously. Quickly into the book, we're at the funeral, right? What did you think of Ike's interaction with the pastor after the funeral?
I felt like, yeah, good for you. Because this isn't your platform to preach a sermon.
Right.
This is my son's funeral. So, yeah, I felt like, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't go in like he could have. He just squeezed the guy's man hard. But I appreciate him saying, you didn't mention anything about my son, who he was as a person, what he did for this community, all of his accomplishments. And he wasn't no damn abomination.
Yeah.
I also low-key appreciated the wife being like,
yeah,
you ain't said nothing worse.
Definitely.
You want to, like...
Yeah.
You want to dish it out.
Now.
Correct. Yeah, he needed you. So I was like, ooh. I liked her initially from that.
Yeah.
Because she's in pain, and like, thank you for sticking up for him, but also don't act like... Right. So I appreciated that in her. So the vandalism of the tombstones. That was a pivotal point because Buddy Lee basically went to Ike. How did you think about that first from the funeral to Buddy Lee showing up to Ike's shop? What did you feel about their dynamic from their first meeting to the second meeting?
I thought it was really weird at first, how he was acting. He was just like talking and saying really inappropriate things, as over like
really like gallus humor. Yeah.
Yeah, and just he's trying to say goodbye. He's over the casket, and you're just saying just sideways things. I just felt was really weird. Not like weird for the book, but like for a person. But there are people like that just say inappropriate things when they don't know how to fill the space. Which I felt like held true to his character all throughout the book.
Right.
So it just, you come to really understand, so did Ike, that this is just how this person is.
Right.
The whole thing with the tombstone, I felt like that wasn't a shocker to me. That was very obvious to me that that was him
Mm.
trying to provoke a reaction from Ike.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually in the beginning thought that Ike was onto him because he was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna keep one eye open on this guy because something just ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
But so the reaction that he had later at the hospital room, I felt like, but we knew this. Like, why are you doing this right
I
now?
didn't think it was that obvious that it was him.
Oh, I
I
thought it was
wasn't
so
I wasn't
obvious.
surprised. It wasn't
Hmm.
a he did it, but it was
Hmm.
kind of like a damn, why'd you do that?
No,
You know?
I immediately was like,
Mm,
yeah, that was clearly him
mm,
because it was too coincidental that that would happen.
yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, we need to do something. And then also there was a moment, and I don't know if this was intentional, where he was talking to Christine, his ex-wife, and he was like, yeah, somebody took a sledgehammer to it and then wrote all these things all over it. And but how did you know that somebody took a sledgehammer to it? Like
Mm,
he told her exactly how it happened, but
mm,
how would you have known if you just know that somebody vandalized it and broke it?
yeah. That makes
So
sense. Yeah.
those I don't know. It was like breadcrumbs that
Yeah.
are scooped up
Yeah.
pretty quick.
No, that makes sense. Um, so do you think it was appropriate that they took things into their own hands or that they should have left it up to the police?
I feel like when it comes to a grieving parent, until you know that pain, you're really not in a position to say what somebody should or shouldn't do.
I agree.
So handle it however you see best and be willing to accept the consequences of having
Right.
to color outside the lines.
Right. Also, it was made very clear that the police were not
Weren't doing anything.
actively working the
Hmm.
investigation either. So,
Yeah, even
that,
more of a reason to
correct.
handle your business.
Yep. Um, that was another question. Were you surprised when Buddy Lee admitted no? Clearly, you saw that one coming. How did you think of the dynamics of the relationship between Ike and his wife Maya, and then Buddy Lee and his ex-wife Christine? Just like there, as I was like going through just some thoughts that other people had on the book, they said that they wish that the women's characters would have been a little bit more prominent or a little bit more background provided on them. I personally felt like I knew enough about them personality wise, just based
Same.
on what was in the book. But, Ike is this big, tough, like shot caller, used to be in the pen, came out and just seeing his softer side with her, like calling her boo and pudding and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and just being so protective over her. And then you see like the men side, and then the, more, I don't know, like boot up side, I guess.
I feel like in terms of their relationships with their wife slash ex-wife, I feel like the author did a really good job of um, giving us enough information that it did. Like, I don't need background information on
Mhm.
Christine more than what was provided for me.
Mhm.
The same with Maya.
Mhm.
Um, like the way that Ike and Maya interacted with each other, yes, he was a burly guy and had, did time and all of this, but the way she spoke to him and how honest she was about her feelings and calling him out on things that he was doing or not doing, you had a very clear understanding like, yes, he's a burly guy, but she's holding it down.
Right.
And for Christine, you definitely understood their complex history,
Mhm.
but also she left.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't need any more information on either one of those women
I agree.
in any capacity other than I would have liked to see a little bit more follow up with Christine after the fact. Like,
Mm.
what happened here?
Right.
Um, it just is like she just kind of faded to black, and that didn't, like her husband, like all of
Right.
this
I would have
stuff.
liked to have seen that too. I think that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, like, are you involved in, like, I don't know. that is the only loose end that I think that could.
She really frustrated me as a mother.
Mm,
You know, it's just
happens though.
it happens all the time.
Hmm.
But I really appreciated Buddy Lee when she left the party and went to his house and just starts, you know, crying and basically like, I
Hmm.
needed it to be true because if it wasn't true, then why did I do what I did? And for him to say the part of him that still loved her wanted to go hold her and tell her, you weren't a bad mom. I know you
Hmm.
loved him. But the other part of me,
She needed to sit in those
you need to
feelings.
sit and you need to feel that. And you need to
Hmm.
know that the money that you have and your status and none of that can protect you from this pain.
Hmm.
You left him and you abandoned him. You turned your back on him. And I was dismissive and I was insulting to him. And we both got to live with that.
Yep.
So you sit there in that pain.
Hmm.
And then when she left, I was hoping you would come here and tell me that
No.
barking
Wrong
up the wrong
house.
tree.
Hmm.
So I it would have really bothered me if he consoled her and
Yeah.
went that route, and I'm glad that he didn't.
It seemed very like raw and real in
Hmm.
terms of people's interactions with one another in that regard.
I agree. How did you feel about the rare breed motorcycle gang coming up to Ike's place of business and trying to regulate, essentially?
I thought that they were very brazen. Um, but the whole, so I don't, you've probably not seen the show Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I've seen pieces of it. I don't
Oh,
know it well, but I've seen
okay.
pieces of it.
So that's kind of what I envisioned
Yeah.
the whole time
Hmm.
is like that kind of demeanor.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess I wasn't really shocked, but there was a little bit of the audacity of both sides to
Hmm.
do certain things, like in just broad daylight, out in the open,
Right.
in places of business,
Hmm.
breaking fingers and this, just seemed very Wild Wild West.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was kind of like, ooh, yeah, I guess I answer that.
I think they really underestimated Ike and Buddy Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, rightfully so, I guess. You see two older guys that are just going about living their lives, grieving fathers. That old man strength is something serious, though. Like,
And
it's
just
underestimated a lot.
skill,
Right.
and
Hmm.
like the knowledge of how to handle certain people in certain situations, and
But they acknowledge Ike's tattoo, though.
but I mean, you could have the tattoo and have gotten it like in your 20s and now be in your 50s. It's not going to hold the same weight as it did back then.
I
Just means
mean,
once upon a time you were this
kind of,
thing.
yeah, but they made it very clear that that's not just any type. If you have that, you
Mm-hmm.
did some real dirt. You did some real. So it's kind of weird that you would just assume that now that he's,
Mm-hmm.
you don't just lose all of that.
Right.
And like you said, it becomes muscle memory. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you do this one or two times, it's a little odd, but if you do it enough, it's
You do
just,
it in your sleep.
yeah, you do it in your sleep. It's muscle memory now.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked all the fight scenes and I thought that made the book very interesting. I felt like it was written very well and was super descriptive. And I don't know, it just, I always like an underdog story. Them
Mm-hmm.
coming into these situations and, you know, outmanned and out everything and then getting hurt and beat up and jacked up. It wasn't like they came out unscathed, but I
The
don't know.
bounce back was a little bit too quick for my taste.
Yeah.
To get pummeled in that way, and then, the same day, like an hour later, you're still off doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
or the very next morning, you're not swollen with your eyes shut and, like
Yeah.
you're coughing up blood, but you're still off doing all these things after you've just been like punched in the kidney and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a little, just a hair far fetched. Like
Yeah.
that beating that happened outside of I don't remember the rapper's name, Mr. Get Down.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I
But
could see
yeah.
that. I don't know, I chalked it up to adrenaline, I guess, and just wanting to avenge their sons. So the whole Christine's ex-husband,
Hmm.
no, Christine's husband,
Hmm.
new husband, and the whole tangerine situation.
Yeah.
What were you shocked by that? What were your thoughts on all of that?
That I was a twist I didn't see coming because the entire time I was thinking that it was Mr. Get Down that she was messing with.
Right.
And then when he was acting really strange at the barber shop, I just couldn't really put my finger on it because they both walked away saying, "Oh, yeah, I don't think he's lying, but he's hiding something." And for him to kind of be just look like this little kid,
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't quite make sense to me. But then, obviously we find out that that's not really the case. So it just seemed like there was a lot of hands in the cookie jar. So I guess the only way, like ultimately what I realized at that point is the only reason why Mr. Get Down was even involved in the whole scenario is because Tangerine met Derek at Mr. Get Down's party.
Okay. Yep.
And then decided to vent to him about the affair that she was having
Right.
with W, which unraveled the whole thing. But up until that point, you're thinking that, oh, she was at his party because she was dating him, and then that's how, like, at least that's how
Got it.
Because where does he fall into all of this?
Yes.
If he's not the person that she's messing around with. So then, yeah, that was a little confusing for me, but not in a way that it, like, threw the story or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So.
I was definitely surprised for sure when she was like, wrong letter. Like, and Buddy Lee's reaction was just, I appreciated he was a little inappropriate and stuff, but he gave comedic relief when it was needed. When things were heavy, he just said some funny things. So yeah, I don't know. I appreciated him. But yeah, and then taking him to Jazzy's house, which I thought Jazzy was a real one because she had just quit because the whole biker situation when they came up there. So that seemed odd that she would get back in.
Yeah.
Which, okay, he's going to give you 2 weeks pay. Like, whatever he was offering didn't seem like enough for the risk that she was taking on, considering that she just saw these guys in action. But, she did, and that was good. So them taking on Ariana and raising her and her being biracial and all of that, Ike being very standoffish to her and Mike and Maya embracing her. How did you feel about her throughout the storyline? Because she essentially saw all of this. She was involved in everything. She was there when Maya went to go help Tangerine. She was there when she got kidnapped and,
I felt like she was around way too much.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
She could have stayed with Auntie.
Yeah, I just thought that, but I guess in terms of like a grieving mother, she probably didn't want to leave her out of her sight, but then she was taking her to really unsafe situations.
Right.
Yeah, she clearly is going to need some therapy. But then I guess I didn't realize how young she was until the end.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Why she was like crying all the time.
Right. Right.
And not really like having much of a voice in all of that other than like a couple of words. So, maybe she won't remember much of it.
I was laughing when Buddy Lee's neighbor like walked and then saw her there. Like, Buddy Lee, who let you watch their child?
Yeah. She was, and when he said goodbye to her, I felt like I knew he was not going to make it in the end, and that this would, like, at some way, somehow he was going to end up losing his life.
Yeah.
Especially he didn't have anything to lose. He lost pretty much everything.
I felt that way too.
Dying.
I felt like this isn't going to end with both of them coming out. I don't want either one of them to die, but I really hope it's not Ike.
Yeah. For a second, I thought he was going to, like when they were having the shootout, and then he like looked at his shirt.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like he had gotten hit. So I'm like, well, dang, maybe he is gonna end up dying. We didn't see that coming. Maybe that's the plot twist.
Yeah. So if Buddy Lee had made it out of that last encounter, do you think him and Ike would have ended up being friends and still hanging out, or that they just would have been like, cool, mission accomplished?
No, I think they would have been like, I don't want to say blended family, but I think he would have been absorbed into and probably started helping out with the lawn care business. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I think it would have ended up being a family affair where they're all working together to raise this grandbaby. And basically through her atoning for how they treated their boys.
Yeah. I think that that was so hard for me in this whole book because they love their sons. It's so clear that they love their sons. It's
Mm-hmm.
just really shitty that everything had to happen the way that it did
Yeah.
before they just truly accepted them for who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just now, Derek, I feel like based on the way it was written, Derek and Buddy Lee had a better relationship than Isaiah and Ike did. It
Mm-hmm.
was still strained. Buddy Lee still made some, unsavory comments and said some inappropriate things, but they talked on a regular basis. He knew a lot. And Ike even made that comment, like, man, you guys talked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like Ike just, I don't know, was kind of cold to Isaiah. And their last interaction wasn't a good one. Threw the glass against the door. And then, he made a comment like, I always have to wonder if his last memory of me, his last thought of me was me throwing that glass
Mm-hmm.
at the door. And that's got to be really crappy to deal with as a parent because you
Yeah.
never know when the last time is that you're going to interact with someone.
Yeah.
And for the mom, Christine, to not answer the phone when her son called.
I was really thinking for a hot second that she might have orchestrated the whole thing. Like, she said she didn't answer the phone, but she did answer the phone, and he told her, and she didn't want it being exposed, and she ordered the hit. For a hot second, that's what I thought was about to happen.
I could see that transpiring in that.
You
Yeah,
know.
that wasn't a far stretch.
And then he goes over there and, she's like, then, he's, I feel like that would have been a much harder decision for Buddy Lee to make than like to now, because he's like, I'm not going to leave this earth without the person who's responsible for this dying.
Right.
That would have been like, what are you going to do now?
Yes.
More so than her husband.
Right.
No qualms. I don't care about you.
Right.
No way.
Right.
You ain't nobody to me. I never liked you. Like, you basically took my girl. But if it were her, your son,
yeah,
that would have been like,
that would have been very tricky.
Like, that would have been as shocking as for She Is Wrath finding out the grandmother was the one who orchestrated all that. Like, that would have been really, that would have been chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Especially if he was like, but then obviously you wouldn't have had like the whole
right
big finale for the ending and all of that stuff.
Right.
But I thought the overall, I thought the book was like really good. The only thing is, like I said, it felt a little Wild Wild West, and how all this stuff was just kind of like happening without any major consequence. Only like 1 or 2 visits from the police throughout.
Even the whole fire situation when they tricked her into coming to the house and then like light it up and then throwing, like, where?
Yeah.
How does this just?
I would have loved for, instead of the neighbor getting hit unconscious, if he was like, yeah, but you're a snitch, so.
Right.
I would have loved that.
Yes.
Because we already didn't like him from before.
He's the same one that Ike was basically like mediocre.
Yeah.
Had the confidence of every mediocre
man. Yeah. Take your white ass back in the house.
Yeah, he basically is living off disability, but then you're talking trash about foreigners coming to the, like, you don't see the irony in that? Yeah.
Yeah. Having listened to the audiobook, I do have a complaint.
Okay.
I just didn't like how everybody sounded like a black man. Like, everybody sounded like a black man. I really appreciated, I think this is probably the first audiobook where I've ever listened to like an African American narrator. So I really appreciated that. But it just felt like it took me a while to realize that Buddy Lee was not black.
Thank you! I felt the same way. You know what did it for me when Ike explicitly said, "You sound like a cracker," blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I was
I was
like,
like, what?
yeah,
And then
I
you
felt the
start
same way.
realizing, oh, they were in a racial. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
That really just, yeah. But it wasn't until they started going off on this journey that you even found that out. So I feel like I was so far into it before I thought I was just listening to two black men talk
I thought so
and
too.
interact with each other. And I couldn't really understand when he was giving him such shit. I don't know. Like, I was like, why, why are you doing him like this? But then when you find out he's white, you're like, oh.
It's crazy too because the synopsis of the book, because I had to double check, like, did it say, and it does say that they were in an interracial relationship, but it still just didn't.
I never read the
Same thing.
synopsis.
It wasn't until the crack. Yeah, same. I found this on Book Talk. I heard other people talking about it, so I said, "Oh, I'll check it out." And then afterward, I read the synopsis, but same. And I didn't think about it until you just said that. But I also thought that Buddy Lee, just the name, I thought he was
The
black too
drawl.
until he said, "You sound like a cracker," and I was like, "Oh." So he's not. And then after that, it just became very obvious that he was white, but it took that.
Only because of the things he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, because of the way the narrator was doing the voice of pretty much everybody sounded like a black man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe it. Like, the only time I really noticed a difference is when he was doing, like, Tangerine had a very different voice. Like, I don't know. Like, when he was doing male voices, they all had a lot of similarities, but he did do a really good change for male to female.
Right.
And he also did a really good change from Ike and what was his alias? I don't remember now. The alias that he had when he was in, like,
Riot.
Riot, correct. So, like, when he did Riot, that was very apparent. Yeah. So I was like, man.
No, that's funny that you mentioned that because I forgot about that until you said that. I could see that too, but I do think he did a good job with the drawl and the.
The way I pictured Buddy Lee was like not old, but like a redneck trailer park country bumpkin with a baseball cap. What's the name of that comedian? He was in one of the Medea movies too. He'd always wear like a baseball cap and he'd have like the plaid shirts, but the arms are like
Larry the Cable Guy.
Yes,
but like skinny.
Yes, that's what I not very skinny, but like smaller than that. But that's what I was picturing. So, like, one step away from having like dip in his bottom lip.
Right. So
I would have appreciated, I guess, just a little bit more of a southern draw, or like not southern, but like country twang to Buddy Lee to put that differentiation between the two characters. But that's the only part for me, and that's obviously having listened to the audiobook. When you read it, you put whatever voice you want on it, and it would have had that. So that to me just was like, it took me a minute, and then I got kind of annoyed by it because it was just really standing out to me. Like, I never got to the point where it just didn't sound the way I needed it to. Gotcha. But that's just the me thing, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I got used to it, but I definitely was like, oh, okay, he's white guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And after that audiobook went off, it gave you a little snippet of another book. And it's narrated by the same narrator.
I went down the rabbit hole, read pretty much all of them. I have one on hold. Yeah, he has multiple books. Love them.
Okay.
I just think they linked up and he narrates all his books.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured that was the case when I heard that he narrated the other one. Now, the other one, as far as I am right now, just having listened to like the first maybe 10 minutes of it,
Hmm.
I've only come across like they're all African American characters. So in my head, like as of right now, it makes sense.
Hmm.
So that's, but it's no shade to the narrator. I think he did a phenomenal
He did
job.
do a phenomenal job. It's
His
hard to
voice
do
is
different voices. Yeah,
chef's kiss.
it is.
It's nice.
I had to look him up to see who it was, and
He's
I normally kind
scrumptious.
of shy away from that because,
Yeah.
but yeah,
No, he's tasty. His voice, though, his narration voice, and what he looks like, and
doesn't
what I
match.
remember his voice being from the Parkers, I didn't put all that
I don't
together.
remember either. Yeah, I don't remember his voice sounding like that, but
That's nice.
he did a
I
good
wouldn't mind
job.
him doing a spicy butt. Just to throw that out there.
um, so another thing that I found sad was Tangerine just basically oblivious to the fact that
Yeah,
this guy was behind all of this.
yeah.
I was
She's,
equal parts pissed at her, like, girl.
you're
But
so
then
dumb.
also, damn,
Yeah.
that's really sad to be
Gotcha.
that far gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ike dropped some bars that I highlighted. May not highlight because I don't do that with my books, but I tabbed it. He said, Gerald ain't the person you told yourself he was. That's a hard lesson, but it ain't nothing to be ashamed of, Tangerine. We all learn that lesson, or we teach it to somebody.
Mm.
I was like, ugh, ain't that
Yeah,
the truth?
that is.
Bars, Ike.
The author did a phenomenal job of just really getting us to understand the pain that these two men were in.
Mm-hmm.
And even Maya, just,
Mm-hmm.
just so much regret. Like it was palpable.
It was.
I don't know. I just think that the author did a phenomenal job in just really like getting you to look at something from a new perspective and watching these two people really grow and like Tangerine's not working, at
Mm-hmm.
the shop
Right.
and just being embraced into this family that really I don't know the word I'm looking for, but like weren't accepting of their son in such a way that through all of this were able to grow and then accept this person into their life, even though
Right.
she kind of was like at the root of,
Right.
why these two boys ended up losing their lives.
Yeah.
So that was really unfortunate. But I thought it was so beautiful when they were going around and trying to figure out what was going on, and everybody that they spoke to was like, they were wonderful. They were great. Everybody loved them.
Right.
Not a single person had anything bad to say about these two people who, even through all of the hurt and pain that they received at the hands of their fathers,
Mm-hmm.
still had pictures of their fathers in their home.
Right.
Despite, not being accepted, them not going to their weddings, or their wedding. Just, I don't know. I thought it was just very beautiful. And I did get choked up.
I did several times. It was very beautiful and very heartwarming and
Mm.
heartbreaking
Yeah.
because it's all they wanted was to be accepted. That's it. And
Yeah.
just something as simple as Ike keeping his hands in his pockets at the barbecue and not shaking his Derek's hand when Isaiah's trying to introduce him to him, or before he threw the glass, that whole conversation that they had, like, we're gonna adopt a daughter. Like, so what is she supposed to go to school and talk about her two daddies and everybody ask her who's the mommy? And he's like,
Mhm.
I tell you, I'm about to marry the love of my life and I want to have a child. And you can't even give me an insincere thank you. Your first thought is what other people are going to think.
Mhm.
And he's like, I had to stop caring about that when I told everybody my daddy was a jailbird. So if you want to talk about embarrassing, I've
Yeah.
been there, done that. There's nothing that these people can say, and I can't live my life for them. And I love the strength that they had, that they still just insisted on being exactly who they are.
Yeah. And raising a family
Yep.
and living their lives and going to work and,
Mm-hmm.
but still trying,
Yes.
like extending that olive branch and saying like, I really am trying. I really, really am trying.
Just like we talked about with Evelyn Hugo, how sad it is that
Mhm.
it shouldn't be that hard to be in love with someone.
Right.
All these outside influence, you really shouldn't have to deal with, this wasn't like a massive age gap or someone is a predator in this situation and someone is a victim. Like these are just two guys who love each other, want to be
Right.
married and want to start a family, want the same thing as everybody else.
Right.
And their parents aren't accepting it or their dads aren't. I think Christine is just,
She's
yeah,
a piece
I
of
have
shit.
nothing positive to say about her.
Yeah.
She's far worse than Buddy Lee.
Leaving, yeah, like just up and leaving that, yeah.
Turning him away and getting all biblical on him, and that's just,
Like it's just not right. I just can't. I don't know. It's just like, where do you get off acting like you're just so high and mighty?
right.
What?
That's your child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I don't know, but it was a good read.
It
So,
was.
overall, what would you rank it on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'll give it a 4. Again, I didn't really care for some of the like Wild Wild West type stuff. But not enough that I'm gonna say like, oh, this is a terrible book, worst thing ever, jail. No.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good book.
People are.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you ever read, ever?
I feel like emotionally, if a book can touch me and make me cry or teary-eyed or like evoke emotion, it's written well. You did your job, regardless of how I think about some of the things being hokey.
Right.
Mission accomplished.
Absolutely. I agree.
So I give it a 4.
I give it a solid 4.3. I liked it a lot. It's a book that I will reread, and yeah, it touched me for sure.
It was on my TBR, so I was really glad when you picked it. Because it probably, TBRs, they're just a mile long. So
I was reading other reviews for this. I mean, I only shared a couple, but someone was saying that they didn't believe how, how you mentioned just how the quick recovery time, basically, but someone was saying that they didn't really find it believable how quickly they just accepted their son's lifestyle. How you felt this strongly about it, but now all of a sudden and I'm like, death will do that.
Yeah,
like as fast as death happens, you realized what was I doing? Yeah. So I was like, this person must not have kids, or has lost
somebody.
Right?
Yeah, had like loss with regret.
Right.
Because when you are in a position where you lose somebody and you regret anything, yeah, all of this other stuff seems very insignificant.
It's instant.
Like,
yes.
Why was that even a thing?
Right.
And then, yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. Hindsight is 2020.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
So
that doesn't make sense.
Just take reviews with a grain of salt. Read things for yourself. If you feel like it's a good synopsis, or if you don't read the synopsis ahead of time, give things a chance.
All right, besties. So next week we will be reading Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. So that's supposed to be, I don't want to say controversial. Is it? Would you say controversial?
I don't know if I'd say
there's
controversial.
Some there could be,
yeah, there's some strong opinions about it. Yeah, okay. It's a little graphic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to read that next week. So yep. Let us know your thoughts down below about Razorblade Tears. And again, as always, let us know what's on your TBR and what are some things that you think we should read together.
Absolutely.
So we will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye, besties.